I'm trying not to die. You're in the air and you're like, if I jump off here, I'll break my back, but if I jump off here, I'll just break an ankle. And you're like, yes, ankle. 1999 was a defining moment in my life. First year that X Games invited motocross to be a part of what was the biggest action sports event. At the time, I was 15 years old. You know, I had just been really straight off a broken back, where I was in a wheelchair for 3 months, and we had 3 mortgages out on the house. My parents were trying to do everything they could to allow me to chase my dreams as a motocross racer. My mom was like, absolutely not. You know, there's no future there. My dad thought about it, and he's like, all right. And he's like, well, what's last place give? I'm like, all right, $1,000. He's like, well, if we hit this other race that's in California that's gonna help motocross, and we do a test out there that's gonna help your motorcycles, hopefully we'll have enough money to pay for gas to basically not go bankrupt before I turn pro. And finally talked my mom into letting me do it, and then jumped in the San Francisco Bay and they fined me $10,000. My dad's like, oh, there we go, we're going bankrupt. I was talking to a film producer, Greg Godfrey. Greg Godfrey said, well, how can I get you to come out and film for the video? I was like, well, I saw that you filmed with this guy, Dave Barlia, and he jumped into the Grand Canyon on a dirt bike. Godfrey thought about it, and he said, well, you gotta be 18 to do that. So the day before my 18th birthday, get a call from Greg Godfrey. He said, hey, I've got you a plane ticket. You're coming to Salt Lake City. We've got a sponsor, Ogio, is gonna cover your 2-week crash course in skydiving, and then we're going to the Grand Canyon. We're setting up a ramp, and you're going to try a backflip into the Grand Canyon. I said, yes, you're my man. Well, it came around perfect, and I was so excited. I was fist pumping, and then I front flipped. Then I was like, I still have time, and I did another front flip. As it turns out, I didn't have time. So I'd thrown the parachute, and it takes about a half second to open. But there was nothing I could do. I'm just watching the ground come up to me at 120 miles an hour, and I'm like, I just killed myself. I just killed myself. So I was watching Point Break one day as a kid, and Johnny Utah jumped out of a plane, and he caught Bodie on the way down, and I thought, man, if Keanu Reeves can do it, how hard can it be, man? I got this. So after going through everyone at Red Bull and then having Red Bull pull the entire Air Force team, which is like 95% of the best jumpers in the world, and saying that they wouldn't support it, I said, all right. So I went to my military contacts and I was like, yeah, never leave a man behind. You're who I want. Like, you're gonna be fighting all the way to the end. You're gonna go down with the ship. And I found a couple military guys, and then one tunnel rat. He only had like 5 skydives, but he had maybe 2,000 hours or 5,000 hours or whatever in a wind tunnel. So he was really good at flying. Timmy, a little Timmy, man, he was awesome. He was like 18. Then we found a pilot that didn't have a pilot's license, so that was even better. Went down to Puerto Rico. So we had basically a military guy who probably didn't even have his real name or anything, so he was fine. Then we had a pilot without a pilot's license. Then we had Timmy, who doesn't even have his skydive license. And we're like, yeah, if we all get busted, who cares? None of us have a skydive license or a pilot license anyway, so it was gonna be great. And as it turns out, I still lost my skydive license, which wasn't the end of the world, because I mean, you can't get a license for base jumping or anything, so most of the stuff I do is kind of under the radar anyway. For my 23rd birthday, my friends got me a tricycle. It was $99. It was from Toys R Us, and it was a Trek. And they actually discontinued making tricycles after Nitro Circus came out because they said it was too much of a liability. My fat friend, Andy Bell, came out of nowhere, drops in on the biggest BMX ramp we have at the house, somehow gets towed in from the top, comes around the corner, slides with the plastic rear wheels, almost crashes on the way to the jump, backflips it on dumb luck, sheer dumb luck. So he went the next week and made posters of that. At that point, I thought, you know what, we have to beat him. And put on a helmet, and we dropped in on the biggest roll-in at that time that had ever been made. And I thought, I'm not going fast enough. So I was gonna jump it straight, but I figured if I'm gonna get knocked out or killed, I might as well look cool doing it. So I tried a backflip, and I landed short and bounced all the way down to flat and knocked myself out. And that's really the last thing I remember about that day, but I watched the rest on video, and Andy Bell, suck it, beat you. Evel Knievel was the original stuntman. He was an icon most of the way around the world. Definitely he was the first man who proved that you could fly a motorcycle. You know, as years passed, Evel's still a big name and a household name for me and most of my generation, but the next generation coming up doesn't know much about Evel Knievel. They know him from songs or from movies. So when History Channel came to Nitro Circus and asked what we could do for a stunt, it was a no-brainer. We said we have to recreate the most infamous and iconic stunts ever done in the United States. Give tribute to the man that started action sports. So for us, and for me specifically, it was a dream come true. So when we were sitting around and trying to figure out which jumps were the most infamous or famous that Evo had ever done, I said, you know what, no one's ever completed this jump on a street bike, on an old school V-twin 750. I had the opportunity to live out a day in my all-time hero's boots, literally. I had high heel boots just like Evo wore. I had a cape, had a motorcycle with no suspension that was 4 times more power than anything I'd ever ridden. And it was scary as all hell, and it was so much fun. If you love what you do and you're entertaining and people's jaws drop because what you do is something that they believed wasn't possible before they saw the show, these are the people that we have in our action sports circus. So if you want to meet one of the guys on Nitro Circus, I introduce you to Ryan Williams.
Yeah, mate, get a flat.
What the heck, man?
Actually the star of Nitro Circus, X Games and Nitro World Games champion, and I'll see you at Nitro Circus Live in Paris.